Hello everyone! Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make clothes using ZBrush. Now, there are multiple ways in which you can go about making clothes, but for today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to make clothes using the extract tool in ZBrush. Some people may be asking, what is the extract tool and what does it do? So basically, the extract tool helps create a layer on top of your current sculpt. That layer then gets added to a new subtool. This allows you to mold it in whatever way you want, and this feature was mostly made in mind for clothes, which is what we're gonna be going over today. There's multiple ways to make clothes on ZBrush, but this is personally my favorite way, and arguably one of the more easier ways to go about it, especially if you want to make stylized clothing. Okay, so I'm going to get started, and as I progress through this tutorial, I am going to go into detail about how to use the different tools and how they work exactly. So right in front of me, I have this default female model that is available in the ZBrush Lite box. You can also use your own like adaptive skin models that you may have from prior projects, but for the sake of the tutorial, if you guys want to follow along, I am using the default model, which can be fun in your life. Okay, so we can get started. So first things first, before we can use the extract tool, we have to use the mask tool. Basically what the mask tool does is it helps section off a piece of the sculpt. That area that is highlighted is the only area that will be affected if you were to mold, move, or do whatever you want else with it. So for this, I'm going to be making a hoodie since that is a very common outfit that many people want to make if they are sculpting characters, and the foundations that are going to be taught in the tutorial can be applied for other pieces of clothing as well. What is more important is that we focus on just how to use these tools and how to mold it in a way so that it is stylized to our taste. Okay, so now I have the mask I want in order to make my extraction. So the area that is, highlighted in dark, that is the area that is going to be affected when we extract. So in order to access extract, what you're going to be doing is you're going to go to the subtitle, you're going to go and scroll down the menu, and then you're going to see extracts. Now there's a couple settings here that I'm going to be going over. So for example, when you hit the extract button, it's basically going to show you what it is going to look like when you extract. Now, this isn't like the finalized version. This is more of a preview. It will not save unless you hit accept, which can be found right over here. Next to it, there's also other buttons such as double. What double does is it basically, as in the title, it creates double the layers for the extraction. Personally, if you are going to make clothing, I recommend you turn this feature off, as one, it can get in the way if you're using other brushes in order to move it around. And also it adds on polygons that you can't even see. So in order to save polygons, turning off double avoids that. And then the other ones you can keep default, except thickness. Now for thickness, you see over here it says 0.02. That can be edited to be more thinner or thicker. So as you can tell when we hit extract, 0.02 might be a little too thick for some people, depending on how exactly they want to make their clothing. And with that, you can change it so you can make it a lot more thinner. So for example, 0.01 makes it really thin, whereas if you were to put like 0.12, it's gonna be humongous. So instead, I would definitely recommend to test it out, press the extract button, as it's gonna help give you different previews of what to expect. So this is a very good like optimal thickness that I might want for my outfit. So I'm just gonna press accept. So after that, our extraction is going to become a new subtool. For example, so use like extract 24. And then with that, you can see that the edges are a little like jagged because of the extraction or because of the way that the masking was made. So with that, I highly recommend you pass it over with the smooth tool to help, smooth the edges out and just make it a lot more easier for when you are going to move the topology around with the other brushes. So now we've reached my favorite part of this process, and this is once you've smoothed out the edges, now it is time to mold the outfit to our liking. Now, because this is stylized clothing, we are going to focus a lot on like emphasizing the outfit. So for example, for this hoodie that I'm going to be working on today, I personally like to go through the route of like baggy clothes. So I like to make them puffy and like big so that way I can like emphasize that. And that is going to be done using the mask tool and move brush. Those are the only two tools I use alongside smooth, but besides that it's just those two. So yeah, so with that, for example, like if we want it to be baggy on the sleeves, we can use the control and mask the top part of the jacket over here, like the top part of the sleeves over here of the sweater. And then over here, using the move tool, we can start moving it in however way we like to kind of give it that like baggy design that we are looking for. So as you can tell, the area that is, darkened because of the mask brush is not being affected by this. It is staying in its place. And so, because of this, the geometry might look a little weird, but you can also like fix this with the smooth brush, as well as like other like ZBrush is another great way to fix this as well. So I'm just gonna keep moving it around as so, just to give it that puffy look that we are looking for. All right, and once we have like a really good idea for what we want, we can then use the smooth tool as a way to, smooth out those edges that were created by pulling and pushing on the sculpt. And then we can also like remove our mask. In order to remove your mask, you have to, you can drag outside of the model, and then like this, you can also just fix it this way as well. Now, so this is how it would look like. Now, if you also want to do same thing in the bottom for puffiness, you would use the mask tool once again, highlight the bottom, and then once again you use the move tool to move it in however way you want. And then just you can also use the smooth tool to polish the changes you've made so that they look a lot more natural. And we can zoom out. And this is how the hoodie looks right now. So this is how I'm going to leave it for now, for the sake of the tutorial. And with that, now I am also going to be making the actual hood part of the hoodie. And so with that, we're going to be using extraction one more time for this. So I'm going to make sure that the brush size is smaller, so that way I can make it like, I can make the mask a lot more accurate as to how I want it to be. And also before you do that, make sure to turn off other masks that you already have, just in case, so that when you do activate the extraction again, it doesn't accidentally extract other places that you didn't intend it for it to. Okay, so once we have a pretty good base for the extraction, make sure it looks like a hood for this. I'm going to change it a little bit more. We're going to go back to the extract tool. Like I said, you can find this in the sub tool. I'm gonna see how it looks like. A little preview. It looks a little thick, so I'm gonna make this a little more thinner. That is a little too thin. I'm gonna try to get to the little middle point. Okay, so this is a pretty decent point to be at. You can also edit it in whatever way you want, but for now I'm gonna accept this. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier, where I smooth out the points that look a little jagged because of the extraction. And you can do like, you can also like polish it a lot more with like other brushes as well, such as Damien Standard. So yeah. So now that you have smoothed out the edges, I am going to, well, first I'm going to move this over here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create like the hoodie part of this. So I'm going to be using the move brush again gonna make this a little bigger so that way it kind of affects the whole hood. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna gently push it backwards. And as you can see, this is creating the bulge in the back that is going to be needed for the hoodie. Now, obviously, they're not usually that big, but you can edit it in however way you want. Um, so, this is too big, so I'm going to try to make it a lot more smaller. And you can also lift up this as well. So once we have moved it around, as you can see, we now have a hood that was made using extraction. And then you can use other features such as the smooth brush, Damien standard, ZBrush, as a way to make the geometry, to make it a lot more smoother, remove any jagged edges, and troubleshoot any issues that you might be running into when it comes to your polygons. But yeah, so that was a very general tutorial as to how to make stylized clothing. I hope this was helpful for you. And yeah, have a nice day, everyone.